Welcome everyone. After talking about material, literature and software that you need to study architecture, we will finish this series by philosophing about skills that you need to study architecture. Before I begin, to smash one of architecture's big myths first, I want to say that you don't need to be a mathematics brainiac to study architecture. Statics are part of it, but you only need to understand how statics work and calculate some basic formulas. Becoming a structural engineer or stress analytic is quite another cup of tea and has nothing to do with architecture studies. So don't be afraid to study architecture if you are not a math crack. The main skill you should have to study architecture is creativity. But how is creativity defined? I guess if you're a creative person, you already know it. You may be a creative person when you do some of these things already. Drawing or painting, making music, writing poems or books, sewing or knitting, cooking, modeling or sculpturing, and so on. If you're not doing one of these things, it doesn't have to mean that you're not creative in some other way. The reason why you need to be a creative person as an architect is not the fact that you're drawing and sketching a lot. The reason is that you have to find new ways and solutions for problems that are appearing all the time and out of the sudden during the process of designing a building. Sometimes you will reach a point where you cannot look up something in your architecture almanac and where you cannot follow scheme X. Then you have to find or create something new. And you have to do this under extreme time pressure, which leads us to the next point. Prepare yourself to work all night without or with only a couple of hours of sleep before your presentations. That's quite common during your time of studying, but it even gets worse after you graduated. But this really depends on where you're working at. Some tips that I've experienced to avoid getting into time trouble or to handle the pressure better are: learn and know your software. Just like I told in the last video, your workflow will be so much faster if you're really able to master the software you're working with. You will save a lot of time and so you maybe can avoid getting into pressure. I always start by gathering all information for the new project. After that, I start sketching around until I'm satisfied with what I'm done. Then I create a checklist with things that need to be done, for example, the different plans that have to be drawn. After that, I think for myself how long I will need to draw every single part of my checklist. And I write it down. And here's what I've learned about myself in the last years. I do always overestimate myself. So I got used to double the time, and this works very well. So I calculate with 12 instead of 6 days, for example, and trust me, finishing a project in 9 days and having some days left before you reach your own deadline is a great feeling and the best motivation you can get. After working 10 or 12 hours on the same project, you will surely lose motivation and concentration. There are many ways to rebuild or to keep up your concentration so you can move on and finish your personal goals. In my way, it is to have a cold shower and wearing headphones with some very loud music on it. So I'm ready to enter the tunnel and keep on working for the next few hours. But this works different with every single person, so you should better find out how you can build up concentration before you are getting into time trouble. The weight of this point will be much heavier after you finished architecture school, when you have to talk to people all the day and watch a construction set where you have to argue with constructionists and impatient clients. During the studies, it's more important to represent yourself and to know how to present your project. I've met people that had awful projects, but they were so eloquent that they convinced the professors to give them the best grades. Having the ability to be convincing even if you are having no clue could be an advantage. Something which helps you a lot is having experience in constructioning or planning a building. Maybe you are working as a draftsman before you begin studying, then you know how to draw details in plans. And handling details is probably the most terrifying part of an architecture newbie. If you have worked as a carpenter, mason or any other form of craftsman, you will surely have a big advantage too. Some students are able to draw the craziest details because they have a good source of details, but they do not really understand what they are drawing. And if you have experience in constructioning, you might know these things and you might know what is possible or not. So you are better in creating new details or custom details. Making an internship at an architecture office or on a construction site at any kind of construction company will give you a big bonus. Even if you're not creative, you are not able to handle pressure, you are not very communicative, and you have no experience in the business, then there is always one ability which can put you through architecture studies, and that's ambition. If you really want to become an architect, you will become an architect. Architecture is not rocket science. It's something which surrounds us every single day, every single moment. Keep in mind that you are responsible for the quality of living for other people. Of course, money plays a huge role in architecture business, but try always to reflect yourself if you would like to live or work in the building that you are creating, and don't let the money and regulations become the primary designer of your project. Please let me know what you think about this video and the whole video series. I am looking forward to read your comments. Thank you for watching and have a great day. Stay creative.